So today I'm going to show you a dessert called Koliva. This is a recipe that comes out of the Orthodox tradition. So you'll see it not only in Greece, but there's also Russian versions and Ukrainian versions of this as well. And the base of this meal, this dessert, is wheat berries. So here I have 2 cups of, it's actually 1 cup of spelt berries and 1 cup of wheat berries. Use whatever you have. I happen to have both, so I decided to mix them in. And I've had them soaked in water for a few hours. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook them. So I'm going to add probably 4 cups of water to this and cook them for 30 to 40 minutes or so until the water has been absorbed. And then we'll go from there. So this recipe, at least in the Greek tradition, this is often something that is served like under a memorial. So, when someone has passed away, you may, eat this dish in remembrance of the individual. And I think that, I like the tradition of making the meal and thinking about either people that have gone or situations that have passed and kind of transitioning into a new state. So I'm going to let this cook for, again, about 30 to 40 minutes, and then we're going to assemble the dish. So this is a dish that actually requires pomegranate. So I had my pomegranate video uploaded recently, and I said that I was going to show you a few recipes that require pomegranates, and this is one of them. So there's going to be pomegranates as well as a variety of nuts. And in addition to this, I want to add a few spices to really enhance the flavor here. So typically when you make koliva, you'll take a few, here I have 3 cinnamon sticks, and just cook the berries, the wheat or spelt berries, with those cinnamon sticks. If you happen to have other spices, feel free to add that. Again, this is going outside the traditional path, but again, cardamom is one of my favorite spices, so I'm going to elect to add in a few cardamom pods. And I really love this recipe because I've never had these berries in a dessert format. I usually have it as like a salad. Typically when I make these berries, I'll mix in like a can of salmon or a can of tuna and make it more into salad that way. But really cooking it with the spices and having a dessert, it's a really filling and complex dessert that has really interesting textures. And I also find that when I cook with these spices, this particular dish, my whole house will end up smelling like cinnamon. So if you're looking to, bring in new energy and also have your house be perfumed by these spices, I certainly recommend you checking out this dish. I'm going to let this cook again for about 30 more minutes, and then I'll show you how to assemble it. Okay, so the spelt and wheat berries have been cooking for about an hour or so, and you can see that they have absorbed most of the liquid. I don't want to say all, but the majority of the liquid. Now, the next part of the recipe is a little bit time consuming, and I can see from a ritualistic perspective why one would do it. And the recommendation is to put the wheat berries out, on some tray or some dish, and have paper towels or something to absorb any of the residual moisture. And to do this overnight. And I'm going over to a friend's house in less than 2 hours. So I don't have that time. So what I've decided to do is I am going to lay this out on this baking tray and actually put it in my oven. I have my oven set for 200 degrees Fahrenheit, so quite low. And I'm going to just put it in my oven while I take a shower. And that way I feel like when I am done, it should be good. I feel like this hopefully is a way to speed up the process, and I also hope that all of the babushkis, all the grandmas across all of the countries are not turning in their grave as I speed up this recipe just a little bit. Okay, so again, putting this in the oven probably for about 30 minutes or so, just to get any of that excess moisture off. Just low heat. I think that's all you're gonna need, and then we will assemble the dish. Okay, so the spelt berries have been in the oven for roughly an hour. So let's take them out. And here we have it. So I believe that these berries are more dry than they were an hour ago. There's all the liquid has evaporated. And so I'm going to now remove all of these pieces of cinnamon, and we're going to assemble the dish, which will be fairly quick. It's this is the most time-consuming part, and I've already put the ingredients together for the assembly, and so let's put that all together. So let's put this dish together. The way that I'm going to do this is I'm first going to put the wheat berries in this large bowl. Okay, so to that, I'm adding the seeds of one pomegranate. Then I have half of a cup of sesame seeds. I have black sesame seeds. You could use either black, or if you happen to have more of a golden hue. That works as well. Just go this way. I have a half of a cup of raisins, about a cup of toasted walnuts, a third of a cup of pistachios, let's mix that all together. All right, doesn't that look delicious? So on top of this now, I'm going to add a few additional things. So I have the zest of one orange. So I'm going to just put that in the mix. Then I am going to put roughly like 2/3 of a cup of almond flour. If you happen to have like chickpea flour, that also works as well. If you want to sift the flour, go for it. I am far too lazy to do such a thing. So I'm going to just, break it up by hand. Any of those clumps. Now the reason why this flour is an important ingredient, and you don't need to put it in, but it basically adds an important decorative effect. So how that happens is we now have 2 cups of confectioner's sugar that we'll add to this. And without the flour, it will simply just seep into the koliva, the berries, and produce a liquid, which is very nice, I will say. However, if you want the sugar to be more present, then having the flour on top will prevent it from seeping into the actual koliva before the dish is actually served. So, sometimes people will make, decorative patterns on this. I am not going to do that, but that could be one reason why you would want to preserve the sugar on top, for instance. But once you kind of delve into the dish, it will seep in and it will kind of unite all of the flavors that you have here. Just trying to even it out. And the way that I think about this is I think that this is kind of like a metaphor for nature. You know, I think about the wheat berries, and especially when you add the sesame seeds, it's kind of like soil. And we have the Greek tale about Persephone going to, Hades with a pomegranate. It's December, and then I think about the sugar on top as snow. And so, you think about this as like a winter dish that from death, from this kind of memorial dish that we're having, something new can arise from it. Anyway, that's just how I perceive this dish. Okay, so that's the dish, and now I'm going to take it to my friends who have never had this before and see how they find it. Let me know if you try out this dish, what you think. If you do any modifications, what is it that you do? And as always, I really appreciate if you like, if you subscribe to my content, and especially if you share it with your friends. See you next time.